Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. What do we got today, Rick?
We got the Week 17 waiver wire.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
It's been a rough year in fantasy for me.
I know.
This COVID year. Hope you all had a great Sunday winning your fantasy championships. Anybody who had Alvin Kamara.
He actually won and lost me a championship.
If you have Alvin Kamara on your team and you lost your fantasy championship, just comment down below because I want to know if that
I
happened
almost lost.
at
Do you
all.
want to see it after the show?
Yeah, dude.
I almost lost with Alvin Kamara. My team choked, but Alvin Kamara carried me. I mean, I was the best team in the league the whole season.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I had a bad team, but in that particular game, my team choked.
Yeah. So I got last week, I had like 2 championship opportunities. One was like a 6 and 7 team that I just crapped on. And the other one was a 6-point touchdown league where I had Patrick Mahomes and I lost by a half a fantasy point because James Conner didn't play. So I had to make a championship, but that's all right. So congratulations to anyone who did win a championship this week. Today we are gonna go through week 17 waiver wire. So if you're a week 16 championship and you're listening this week, I mean, hey, welcome in.
Enjoy the show.
Enjoy the show because I don't know what you're listening for. But if you're a week 17 championship, we're excited to have you in. We're gonna go through 3 episodes of Week 17 content to help you win your Week 17 championships. And then I will also recommend probably every show never to do Week 17 championships. I don't even know why we reward them with content Week 17 when they make such terrible decisions for Week 17.
I mean, it might not be their choice.
That is true.
So we're here to help.
Yeah. So we're going to go through that. Before we jump into our waiver wire for Week 17, be sure to check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter at @TheFFChamps, on Instagram at @TheFantasyChampions. Like us at Facebook.com/TheFantasyChampions. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platforms, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like and comment down below. Everything.
Yeah, do it. Do it all.
Okay. So with Week 17 upon us, I went back in time. I can't. It messed me up because the football season always moves so quickly.
It does.
It feels
really
like
does,
it gets to Week 5 and you're like, wow, it's already Week 5, but I got so much left to go. And then it gets to week it feels like 4 or 5 weeks ago when I had an actual shot in the home league.
You were in place for like a first round bye and then lost out.
Lost out. Yeah. Unfortunately, Miles Sanders hurt my soul, but I still love him. But anyway, so yeah, Week 17 is upon us. The end of the season. Most of us are going to be watching for playoff scenarios for the NFL, real life football. So, and that's what I'll be doing. Maybe we'll keep track of our fantasy teams anyway.
Yes.
for not Rick's been playing DFS, so he'll probably be playing that. But anyway, let's jump right into our waiver wires for this week, and we're going to start with some streaming options at quarterback. Rick, do you have anybody in mind?
Yeah, with Week 17, the streaming option, it's like you got to pick the guys that you know are playing for something, right?
Yeah.
Because if you pick Patrick Mahomes, I mean, obviously Patrick Mahomes isn't going to be available, but theoretically if he was,
right,
like there's a chance he's going to sit out, right? Mm-hmm. In Week 17 or like not play the second half if they're winning, all this stuff because they've already clinched a spot. Mm-hmm. But you're going to want to play for teams in the hunt. I think looking at the available quarterbacks here, a lot of people are going to say Trubisky, who has played really, really well over the last few weeks, but he has a tough matchup against Green Bay this week. And one of the reasons I feel like Trubisky has been great is because he's been playing such awful competition the last few weeks.
Right.
So you can pick him up and start him at your own risk. I don't think he would be the guy I'm looking at.
I think the other note that I'll have on Trubisky too, because I'm not going to say to pick him up this week, but there's going to be that little cherry hanging over your head when you look at the stats and you go, man, he had 20 points against Green Bay last time. Maybe I can get away with starting him this week. I would not start him, and I would not pick him up this week. It's not worth it.
He is playing red hot right now, but he's playing against like Jacksonville. So,
but I mean, even the week before against Minnesota, he only had 14 fantasy points. So it's not like he's been fantasy wise impressive.
True.
He's been good for real life.
Yeah. To me, I really like. It's so gross, but Philip Rivers against Jacksonville.
Okay.
Jacksonville is just given up. They're like, woo, Trevor Lawrence. The fans were cheering in the stands in Jacksonville when the Bears scored. It was bad. They're in full Trevor Lawrence mode.
He literally went to the game to cheer against the team.
Yeah.
Do you really want to be that? As Patriots fans, Rick is cheering for the tank.
For Trevor Lawrence, yeah, I would.
Okay.
For Trevor Lawrence.
All right. Poor Gardner Minshew.
I know. But yeah, I think Philip Rivers against Jacksonville is a great one. If Kirk Cousins is available in your league, I doubt he is because he's actually been quietly very, very good. Mm-hmm. But if he is available in your league still, he's playing Detroit, who Brady threw for like almost 400 yards in 2 quarters against the Lions.
Who is that? Kirk
Cousins, yeah. I think he's the QB 11, so he's probably not available in your league, but he's still in sleeper, only rostered in 33% of fantasy leagues. So if Kirk Cousins is available in your league and you're streaming, I think he's probably my favorite, but if not, Philip Rivers is a good bet. And then a dark horse, I think Danny Dimes against the Cowboys.
I was hoping that you didn't say Drew Lock.
I thought about it, but I was like, no.
I was like, don't do that to yourself. Yeah, I mean, I think Rick referenced pretty much everyone. There's not anyone I really would want to add. My favorite guy would probably be Kirk Cousins against Detroit.
Yep, me too.
If you have any waiver budget left, just toss it all on him if you need a stream. But outside of that, like Bridgewater has a tough matchup against, I believe it's the Giants. I want to say the Giants. No, it's New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah.
And then you have Drew Lock does have an easy matchup against the Raiders. In the last 4 weeks, he's been 12, 25, and 10. They're all been easy matchups. And he has 16 last week against the Chargers on 2 interceptions. So he didn't throw a touchdown in that game. Where did he get 16?
He got a rushing touchdown.
I see. So anyway, against the Raiders, I wouldn't start Drew Lock or pick him up at all. But I think Rick kind of hit the nail on the head with the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, if you're at the point where it's like Danny Dimes or Drew Lock, like, good luck. You know?
Yeah. See you later. So let's talk about the running back position a little bit. We had literally
a little bit of a breakout game, huh?
From
A.J. Dillon.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that. I was going to say we have nobody on this list, but we can talk about A.J. Dillon if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think the top 2 guys are worth pickups. And the first one we're going to talk about, I guess, is A.J. Dillon, who Jamal Williams did not play, and then Aaron Jones was kind of banged up, which unfortunately for me because I played Aaron Jones in daily fantasy. So I was crying. But ignoring...
Still had like 15
ignoring
points,
me. You want to see what A.J. Dillon did?
Yeah,
21 carries, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns for 25 fantasy points. A monster performance.
I said this about A.J. Dillon in the offseason, and I don't know. I don't want to buy in yet, but Aaron Jones, when is he a free agent? Is it this year?
Yep, and he still hasn't re-signed.
A.J. Dillon is going to be Matt LaFleur's. That's a head coach, right?
Yeah,
I didn't screw that up. Okay, good. Matt LaFleur's Derrick Henry. He's gonna do this on a regular basis if Aaron Jones does.
That's why they drafted him in the second round, because they want him to be that.
Yeah, I think he's going to be extremely underrated next year going in. I think a lot of people are going to draft him high.
Because anyway, a lot of the analytic community does not like A.J. Dillon, and I get it because if you watch him play, he really
he did play Tennessee, so
he did play Tennessee, and if you watch him play, he's good. I think he finds the hole well. He's a good runner, but he's slow.
He just looks slow. He looks to me like Derrick Henry before Derrick Henry had his breakout game against Jacksonville.
Yeah, I get, and there's a lot of people saying the same thing that you're saying. And I would buy Derrick or AJ Brown or AJ Dillon.
You're trying.
If Aaron Jones is gone. If they re-sign Aaron Jones, I don't.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a committee, and I don't know
exactly.
I don't know if Jamal Williams is under contract. That's off-season stuff, but I would add him. The only situation that he's playing Chicago this week, and if you're this is the last week of the season for you, so it's not really something that you're going to be looking at going, oh my god, I can start him this week. So like, is it worth running out and adding AJ Dillon this week for one play? You know what I mean? And I just don't see the worth there, especially when Aaron Jones is probably going to play next week. Do you think they might sit him?
Yeah,
this
is
is exactly why you don't do Week 17 championships, by the way, because the teams who are out of it sit their players, and the teams who are in it already have everything clinched that they can possibly clinch, they sit their guys.
Yeah, I think there's a chance because Aaron Jones was battling an injury all night.
Yeah.
He was limping on the field type thing. I think they're just going to sit Aaron Jones, and AJ Dillon's going to get another like 25
I mean,
carries.
It could be one of those Tony Pollard risk games where it pays off. But I'm not excited about it.
Yeah.
That's kind of it just makes it at the end of the season, like, do you really need to be making waiver wire moves just to make waiver wire moves? No. Mm-hmm. So if you don't need them, then don't try to get them. But if you're in a dynasty league and he's on your waiver wire, that's physically impossible. If you're in a dynasty with AJ, quit.
You know what stinks?
What?
I had him in the staff league.
Oh,
I did. But it was before, so we had 6 bench spots in a dynasty league. So I'm like,
oh yeah,
and everybody was dropping their rookies. I was like, I can't keep AJ Dillon. I just can't. I dropped him.
Yeah.
And then he extended the bench spots. So I go to pick him up, and somebody had already picked him up. And I was like, okay,
this sucks.
And this was like weeks ago before he had his breakout game.
So yeah. Anyway, AJ Dillon, it's not a bad pickup if you want to add him. If somebody gets hurt, he might be a good play last second. If Aaron Jones is not in the game, if Aaron Jones plays, I'm not feeling good about AJ Dillon's fantasy prospects this week. Yeah. He might have a good game, but I just don't trust it. So there's a couple of other guys. Everyone else outside of these two is probably not worth picking up. Mm-hmm. I did, however, I don't know what league I did this in, but I picked up Dara Goombawale for Jacksonville.
Wow.
What league did I do that in? Hold on. And he had like 10 points, half PPR, 14 carries, 71 yards. It was for Jacksonville because James Robinson didn't play. I don't know if they're going to hold out James Robinson this week.
Probably. I mean, they already clinched the first pick, so they might actually play Minshew and James Robinson and win this week.
That is very true. I don't see anyone. I don't see anyone else. I mean, I was going to say Malcolm Brown.
So why do you not want to say Malcolm Brown?
He had 4 fantasy points this week and was garbage. And Cam Akers didn't play.
So the reason why I would say Malcolm Brown is because Cam Akers didn't play, and he's probably not going to play in Week 17. Okay. And Darrell Henderson got hurt in the fourth quarter of that game. So there is no other running back on the active roster.
Is Darrell Henderson out?
It's too early in the week to know, but I think there's a good chance he's not going to play in Week 17. If that happens, the last time Malcolm Brown had all the work, and even then he split with Henderson kind of. He had 57% snap percentage in Week 1, but he had 18 carries for 79 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 targets, 3 catches.
Oh, and against Arizona, I do that.
And 24 fantasy points.
Yeah. So if Darrell Henderson's out, Malcolm Brown is I would put him at the top of the list for ads.
Yep.
I think that if you're in need of a running back not named Malcolm Brown or AJ Brown, I don't know what to tell you.
Or AJ Brown, AJ Dillon.
AJ Dillon.
He did the same thing I did.
This is what's going to happen all next year. There's literally no one. I think maybe Ito Smith, but I don't know how much work he got last week. So I don't know. I feel like I do this the last like 6 weeks of the season for running backs. It just becomes gross. Ito Smith had 10 rushes, 46 yards, no touchdowns.
Yeah, who could be a really deep gross play?
That's not even
in Week 17.
What?
If the Buccaneers rest some guys like Fournette and some running backs, because Bruce Arians said he wants to play some younger guys in Week 17, Keyshawn Vaughn could get a lot of opportunity in Week 17.
It's an interesting play, but do you really trust that?
No, I don't. That's why I said it's a deep play.
Yeah, if you're desperate.
Yeah.
So I think that's all we have for running backs. If you have any questions about running backs in the comments, we can provide answers. But we'll move on to wide receivers. So there's a couple of guys on this list. Michael Gallup had a monster day this past week. I think he got a touchdown, so I wouldn't say monster day. I'm not going to.
He got 2 touchdowns, I think.
Oh, yeah, 27 fantasy points. So I guess that is a monster day. But yeah, eight targets, 6 catches, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think personally he would be my favorite add. They do play the Giants, which they've been tougher against wide receivers, so I'm not excited about the start. But if you're a 3 wide receiver league or multiple flex league and you need a wide receiver play and you don't have anyone on your bench that can fill that role, you're nervous about a matchup, I think Michael Gallup could be an okay play. Last 2 weeks he's had 10 and 27. It is the Dallas Cowboys, so I feel like you should just take that with a grain of salt. If you're going to start a Cowboys player, you know exactly what you're getting into.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I would do Michael Gallup, and then Rick was just looking at Sterling Shepard. Do you have any updates on that?
Yeah, I agree with you with the Gallup. It's play him at your own risk. He's kind of been up and down all year. And even though he had a great week, it's like it's Dallas. Sterling Shepard has actually been pretty decent this year when Daniel Jones has played. When he came back in week 7, he had 14, 11, 8, 7. He was consistently getting at least 6 targets. He's the top target guy on the Giants. This past week, he had 18 fantasy points and 12 targets, 9 catches. That's pretty solid. And against Dallas, a team that struggles against wide receivers, in a week 17 game where one of these teams could end up winning the division and making the playoffs.
Right.
It's a big game. I think Shepard could get you like a solid 10 fantasy points, which at this point, if you're picking up a guy to start him, you'll take that. So I think Sterling Shepard's not a bad play.
I would also throw Russell Gage on this list. I have a there's a high likelihood that Julio's not going to play this game. It would be stupid to start Julio in this game. So Russell Gage, he did have a bad week this week against Kansas City.
Tough matchup.
It was a tough matchup, but against Tampa Bay in week 15, he had 15 fantasy points. They were going up against Tampa in week 17 again. There's a good chance that I think Calvin Ridley will probably play, but Julio Jones not playing is a good thing for Russell Gage to have success. So I think he is a good add as well. Outside of that, I don't really see anyone at the wide receiver position that I think I would run out and add at this point. The Chiefs might play Mecole Hardman this week a little bit more.
Sure.
Based on, I like the offense. They're not going to bench Mahomes because that's not how they play. They clinched the bye week this week, right? They clinched the one seed.
They did, yeah.
Okay, so that's done for them. They don't have anything else left to prove here in week 17, so I would expect some of these guys to sit to protect them for the postseason. If they sit Tyreek Hill, I think Hardman comes in and probably fills that role. So he might be an okay add, but everyone else I'm just not really interested in. I don't know if the Bears are in. Are they? Did they have a chance?
The Bears?
Are they out?
Oh, so the Cardinals lost, so the Bears are actually in the playoffs right now.
Okay, so all Bears players are going to play.
Yeah. They have to win this week, though. I don't know who they're playing.
Yeah, the maneuvering week 17 is the hardest thing you will ever do.
Yeah. Oh, they're playing the Packers. That's what it is.
Okay.
Bears are playing the Packers. If they win, they're in.
Okay, fair enough. This is going to be a short show, considering that there's no one to pick up on the waiver wire.
It is
what
week
about
17.
Rashard Higgins? Can
it's
you tell me
literally
about
last
him?
week. Higgins is okay. He didn't play this week because COVID, which is awful for the Browns because they lost to the Jets, partly because literally their whole team, their starting left tackle and their 3 starting wide receivers were all out because they were.
Oh yeah, that's right.
List.
We were watching the game and I'm like, what are you talking about? They don't have any receivers.
They literally had 3. They had one active. They had one receiver on the active roster left.
Tell me a guy that you started in DFS this week.
Oh, I started
Marvin Hall.
Bro, I had $300 left or $3,000 in DSF on DraftKings. They give you $5,000 or $50,000. Yeah. What did I say?
DSF.
Okay, whatever.
It could easily get mixed up.
I had $3,000 left, so I'm like, I'm just gonna start Marvin Hall. He's the only receiver on the active roster, and he had a 91% snap percentage.
Yeah.
For 2 targets and 1 catch for 20 yards.
Wow, that's terrible, dude.
Yeah, I know it wasn't good.
Let's talk about some tight ends, just really quickly. See what we can get.
Okay.
I wouldn't pick up Hooper. Jimmy Graham might.
You wouldn't pick up Hooper.
No, I wouldn't pick up Hooper.
If I would say Hooper, I would if.
I think
some of those Browns
thing is probably going to be over by then. How many?
Yeah, probably because I don't think any of them actually got COVID. They were all just close contacts.
It is. It's against Pittsburgh, so it's a tough matchup in a game they have to win to try to make the playoffs. So
I think. He's going to get targeted.
And Pittsburgh too. They what is their record? 11-4, or did they win that game?
Yeah, they're 12-3.
12-3. All right, never mind. I thought if they lost that game and then they played the Browns and the Browns beat them.
No, yeah.
would've been
That
funny.
would have been
Hilarious.
This game would have been for the division if the Steelers lost and the Browns beat the Jets. But the opposites happened. Cooper had 15 targets last week, which that's why I also played him in DSF or DFS. But
You did it twice.
whatever, dude. I don't care.
Anyway.
And but yeah, that's why I played him.
Yeah.
But this week, yeah, if those receivers come back, he's not getting 15 targets again. He could get like 5. He had 6 against the Giants, so he's not a bad.
I just think against
Pittsburgh,
it's
you're
tough.
right though.
It's,
Yeah,
I'm
but
not-
it's a game they have to win. If they lose, they're out of the playoffs.
You really trust the Browns in a must-win game?
No, absolutely not.
Jimmy Graham too. He's off and on. I would say he's a touchdown.
He's so touchdown
He's
dependent.
so touchdown dependent. But if you are streaming or looking for tight end starts at this point, I don't care what. His matchup's not good either.
Exactly. It's so
trying to-
gross. You're trying your best right now.
I'm trying
but-
my best, but he's.
What about Irv Smith, bro? 9 targets, 20 fantasy points.
Irv
against the
Smith
Saints.
might be for me.
He slowly has been getting it more involved.
Yeah, he was a guy that in the offseason, a lot of people were hyping up as one of those breakout tight ends. I didn't feel like it was that time yet because they don't throw the ball enough. He's going up against Detroit. He probably has the easiest matchup. He's got similar numbers to what Jimmy Graham has had over the last 3 weeks, so I would start him against Detroit, and I would pick him up this week because I think that would be a good ad. But
Yeah. Out of these guys, out of these 3 that we just talked about, I think Irv Smith is my favorite.
I would rank him Irv Smith, Jimmy Graham, and then Austin Hooper.
Okay.
So tight ends are like the worst.
Yeah.
I'm glad I figured out the tight end position for the most part. I'm not excited about next year trying to figure that out.
I mean, last 2 years I've walked into good tight ends, so I'll just.
He's like, I'll just continue walking into tight ends.
Yeah.
Just watch.
I think I will. We'll see.
That is ridiculous. Well, that is it. That's all we have for you for the waiver wire for Week 17. Hopefully, it was informative. If you have any questions about Week 17, leave them in the comments. Don't forget to check out our website. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and we will talk to you tomorrow, Fantasy Champs.
Take it easy.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.